What's going on, y'all? Three in a row. Three in a row. Yeah, girl. I told y'all I was gonna get these movie corners out because I really want to talk about it. But hey, we are here again for The Faculty. Okay, it came out in 1998, and I remember didn't go to the movies to see this. Back in the day, let me tell you something. When this movie came out, this is one of the ones that I really wasn't interested in watching. Okay, like we went to the movies. This was around the time where you had your Screams and I Know What You Did Last Summer, probably your Urban Legends or whatever. I don't think that we went to the movies to go see Urban Legend, but I do know I Know What You Did Last Summer. We went. I do know we went to go see Scream. So when Faculty came out, I was like, girl, I really didn't care too much because I'm not a sci-fi type of girl, okay? And once you look at the preview for The Faculty, you already know what it is. It's some aliens and stuff. And let me tell y'all something. Speaking of aliens, truth be told, you want to know what movie I've never watched? I know what it's about for the most part, but I've never watched the Alien series. Never watched one episode, one movie in that franchise. Well, is Predator part of that the Alien? You know the one that they put on Hulu when it was the girl in the trap or whatever, and then the Predator, it was like Predator versus Alien or some shit type of like that. That new one that they did like probably like a couple of years ago, I watched that one. But when it comes to like the original Aliens and Predator franchise, haven't watched it. I guess I'll go back and watch it eventually. But yeah, I'm just not a sci-fi type of girl like that. But The Faculty, after looking at it and, looking at it again as an adult right now, it was cool. It was a decent movie. It was typical. First of all, it came out in 98. Second of all, even though the fact that, I got to think back. Was it because my mama didn't want to take us or what? Because Usher was in the movie, right? And that would have been a draw. That would have been a draw for me. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, didn't go to the movies to see it. Okay. So we got Usher, he's playing one of the jocks. If you looked at Chicago PD, and you looked at not the current season, but the season prior, that new detective that came in, he's Stan. Okay? I said, you know what? Stan always plays some goofy characters, so when he comes through on Chicago PD, the actor, and he's playing serious and just being all of that, I was like, oh, you come a long way. It's so good for you not being typecast, okay? And I think Claire Danes, is that Claire Danes? I do know Elijah Wood, Jordana Brewster. This was her film debut. Did not know that. But of course, we all know Elijah Woods or whatever. But yeah, so we get basically, they said this movie came out in 1998. Oh, it came out on Christmas, December 25th, 1998. It grossed $63 million. That's cute. That's cute. How much was the oh, that's real cute. It cost $15 million and it grossed 63. That's real nice. That's real nice. Okay, but so we get into the movie and it's taking place in this town in Ohio, right? So we up in the Midwest. And it's at a high school, and it's the typical high school where you got your jocks, you got your nerds, you got your goth or your outcast, and you got the one that want to be the badass and I don't give a fuck about nothing or whatever, and then you got your in-betweens that just go with it, the flow with things, okay? But when the movie starts out, we have this teacher conference that's going on with the drama teacher, I believe the music teacher, the principal, and I think like the English teacher or something like that. Either way, they're trying to get funding, okay? Trying to see where the funding is going to go and all this stuff. And the principal, Miss Drake, is basically like, girl, we ain't going to have no time to do this. We ain't got no time to do that. The money is basically going all to the football team. And the English teacher, whatever, he wound up saying, yeah, I bet you can't find no money for us, but you can find some money for the football team to get new jerseys. And she was like, hell yeah. Because what is this? Regardless of how poor this school is, this town is a football town and everybody's here on Friday nights. Okay? And so therefore, we're going to give them what they need because that's where all the attention and recognition is going to. And that's the only thing that's truly successful. And honestly, I really can't stand that. I don't understand. I just need somebody to explain to me, how did football become so major in this country? Because it's like, no matter where you go, no matter what city you go to, no matter what state, football is like held up here, okay? Friday night lights, Sunday football, Monday football, all of that. And it just became, I know they say America's pastime is baseball, but I feel like it's more so football, the more emphasis that they put on it, right? Girl. And it's like with high school and all of that shit. So it's I need to know, where did that come from? But or how did it get to that level? So you got that going on, right? And then, Drake leaves, everybody leaving out. She forgets her keys, so she go back up in there. And earlier we see the football coach. He is just, I would have took my kid off the team, okay? Like, I get tough love and I get trying to, toughen him up or whatever. But the way he was cussing at him, the football team, and then getting upset. Mind you, all of this was happening just because they was messing up slightly. Stan messed up a little bit in practice. I guess he wasn't giving him his all, according to the football coach, and he cussed him out a little bit. Then once that happened, he go over there flipping the bench and everything, and I'm like, damn. And so that's when he gets approached by somebody, and we don't see who it is. So then we get to this meeting with the faculty, and Miss Drake goes back up into the to the school. First of all, I don't like them old school buildings like that. You can tell they've been around for so many decades. They so old, and then y'all up there at night. Why are we here at night like this? No, we're gonna have a meeting during the day, okay, when it's lights outside. If it's not after everybody leave at 4:00, baby, we can pan this until 9:00 in the morning. Okay, that's when we'll come through. Or you want me to come a little bit early, we'll do it probably around 8:30. Okay, that's just what it is. But she go back up in there trying to get her keys, and she get confronted and attacked by the coach. Okay, then the drama teacher, she come back and she was trying to help her out. At least we thought she was trying to help her out. Come to find out, she on the side of the coach. And I said, oh my God, what's going on? When he stabbed her in the hand with that pencil and said, I always wanted to do that. And then when she popped her in the face, and then the drama teacher said, I always wanted to do that. And truth be told, Miss Teacher Girl, I was on your side when you said that, when you popped her. Because the way that she was giving y'all fever and not giving y'all the money, I know y'all was pissed off, okay? Like, damn, bitch, can we get a little some, okay? The other teacher, she needed some computers and all of that shit. We couldn't even get one new computer, but you can get all the football teams, some jerseys and everything. Girl, please. So when she said, I always wanted to pop that bitch, I said, yeah, girl, go ahead, because I'm pretty sure the principals be making you, girl, y'all see me fixing this whole time. The principals be making you pissed off, okay? That's basically what was going on. But anyway, so that wound up happening, right? But then this is when all three of those get converted, okay? Something is happening to them. We don't know exactly what. The teacher is missing when it comes to the school next day. The principal has not been seen. But then at this point, everybody is still cool. We get into the students, okay? We got Stokely. She's like the outcast, loner type, no friends. She wears all the black eyeliner, black clothing, all of that stuff, kind of goth a little bit, but she's just really to herself. And she get picked on by Delilah, who is like the head cheerleader, I believe, and she works on the editing the newspaper. And Delilah has it upon herself. Now, for those that don't know who Delilah is, Delilah played Paul Walker's little sister. Was it little sister? Nope. Vin Diesel's sister on Fast and Furious. Yeah, the one that Paul Walker was with. Y'all know when Paul Walker died, he was with somebody that was underage. That's why I can never go, sorry that he passed, but he was literally dating somebody that was underage. And when I say underage, a literal teenager, but they want to omit that fact. But moving on from that, yeah, that's where she come from. And she was such a bitch. And also, y'all need to watch another movie with Jordana Brewster that I actually like is Debs. That's her, Megan's, and Megan Good in there. It's cute. I love that movie for some reason. It's one of the cult classics for me. I think it was like an independent movie, but it was really it's funny. But she is the editor, part of the newspaper. She works on the newspaper with Casey. Casey again is one of the ones that get beat up and we see him getting, he literally just came to school, put his foot on the school grounds, and he's getting bullied, okay, to the point where they're knocking him out and, putting him through the pole or whatever, splitting him through the pole. He got to go into the bathroom. His nose is bleeding and all this stuff. He can't even eat lunch with anybody. He eating lunch by himself in the bleacher. Truth be told, that would have been me. I ain't even going to hold you, because that seems so much more peaceful to eat lunch outside by yourself and you communing with nature and everything. It just seems just more, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to worry about nothing, right? But then Delilah is also dating the quarterback, who is Stan. And Stan is going through the dilemma where he does not want to be on the football team anymore. I was like, what? Now, see, the part that really irked me so much about Delilah was such a negative ass bitch before everything went down. And honestly, I would have been okay if she would have died. I know that's kind of harsh, because these are supposed to be students, but it was just the way that she was. I wouldn't be able to trust her afterwards. Like, is your motives really true? Or is this still you? Or what's going on? Because your man is coming up there to you. Granted, these are teenagers. Your man is coming up there to you, and he's going through a little crisis. You're supposed to be there to listen to him. You are all about image and all about what this supposed to happen. I ain't got time for this. He trying to talk to you. I'm too busy for this. Can we talk later or whatever? He trying to tell her, listen, I don't want to play football no more. And she said, well, damn, bitch, you too stupid to do anything else. That's literally what it was. You telling your man right to his face that he too stupid to do anything else, and it's supposed to be the cheerleader and the quarterback, they're supposed to be together. That's the image that we supposed to have. Not no cheerleader with the wannabe, scholar and all this stuff. You don't even know this and you don't even know that. I said, Stan, break up with that bitch. She was pissing me off so much. I said, wow. Now, if you're like this in high school, how the hell you gonna be when you get in college? That was really, really rude and messed up. And then, she was a bully too, because not only did she bully Stan in that moment, and that's supposed to be her man, she bullying Stokely. Stokely, like I said, she's an outcast, and she's probably like self-outcasting. Okay, she don't have any friends, and I just feel like she did it. It's one of those situations where if she wanted to, she probably could have had some friends. She's just a loner, okay? And she's one of those I can't stand the world type of bitches. That's just really what it is, right? And sometimes it be like that. But then because of the way she was dressed in, she was always in black and goth and all that stuff. Always to herself, always a little angry with the world. It's probably with some shit going on at the house or whatever. We just don't know. You got Delilah coming over there talking about just coming down on her, talking about she a little lesbian, all that stuff. I said, well, damn, bitch. And she said, is the girl gay? Now, truth be told, I thought this actress that played her was gay. I thought they was lesbians for real. I could be wrong, but they just gave it to me. But every time I see him, they with a man in the movie. It's giving Queen Latifah, because Queen Latifah used to be with dudes all the time in movies, and then we know how that turned out. She got a whole wife and kid, so there's that. But yeah, she was giving that tease, and I was like, damn, bitch, did she come out and say that she was gay? No, she didn't. Leave her the fuck alone. And so then we get this new girl that comes in from Georgia, Maybeth something something. She gets her whole three names. Now let me tell you something. They should have been on alert right then and there, because each and every time we get introduced to Maybeth, baby, she telling us all five of her names and where she from. Girl, I ain't asked all that. Can you just say your name is Maybeth? Okay, that's just it, bitch. And so, she took to Stokely because, of course, Stokely seemed like an easy target for the simple fact that she's by herself. She's a loner. Nobody would care, I guess, if she was here or not. And she was like, so you really a lesbian? Please be a lesbian. I said, hold on. Stokely said, no, bitch, I'm not a lesbian. It's just easier for them to just say that and let me just go about my day. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Meanwhile, you got Zeke. He is like the bad boy, don't give a fuck, a second year senior. He failed senior year and came back. And he did it because he just didn't give a shit. And I just didn't understand it. He can, and I feel like he did it on purpose so that he can come back and sell his drugs. He got a little drug factory going on, and he's selling it to the students. And unfortunate fact, I was about to say fun fact, but it's really not. So when you watch this movie, the first person that we seen him selling the drugs to, the two guys, the one with the little afro, that's Danny Masterson, right? And he the one that just got put into jail for like life for being in Scientology and for our wording of women. Okay, yeah, he just did that. Ashton Kutcher friend that they wrote that character letter for, yeah, them motherfuckers. Okay, and then come to find out, see, this is how shit runs so deep, and it's just so crazy. Like, we want to stop supporting certain type of people, whatever, but when we go back and we look at it, half the time, a lot of our favorite stuff, or a lot of the stuff that we can look at or looked at when we were younger or whatever, even now, were produced by these predators. Because Harvey Weinstein was one of the producers on this goddamn movie, and his brother. And I'm just like, that's crazy. Meanwhile, which would make some sense, because Zeke keep on flirting with the teacher, Miss Burke, okay? And Miss Burke, that's Jean Grey. That's Funke. I love me some Funke, bitch. I fell in love with Funke when I seen her the first time on Nip Tuck and she played Ava. Bitch, you will never get away from me with that. I said, bitch, you played that shit down. I never forget when Julian, may he rest in peace, when he first went inside her and he realized, bitch, oh, so you got that and you're what? Oh, okay. Y'all gotta watch Nick Tuck. Nick Tuck was my shit. That was like the first Ryan Murphy movie, that TV show that I've ever seen. Okay, mind you, I was young as shit. Why the fuck was I watching that? But I was. Okay, and I just don't understand, how do you be a teacher like Miss Burt and you're just so quiet and meek? She kind of gave me the Miss Honey feel from Matilda, but not so much, because Miss Honey, she was still energetic. She still projected her voice, but maybe because she was with kids. These are teenagers, and you're so meek and scared to raise your voice and all of this stuff. Do anybody know this and all of this stuff? And Zeke saying things, and, she calling him out about selling his stuff or whatever, but she's not forceful with it. They kind of probably just walk all over her because she's just so meek and mild and kind of like invisible, right? And so we got that. Next thing you know, we see that Miss Drake came back. They got the nurse there. She's sick as shit. And I'm like, take your ass home. Mind you, the nurse is played by Salma Hayek. I said, girl, was time hard? You was really getting your feet wet at this point, because this is probably the smallest role I ever seen Salma Hayek in. And she was like, basically she got a job to do. Okay, if she could still walk and she could still see and all that shit, she'll be there, sick and all. Well, that kind of defeat the purpose, baby. You could probably spread whatever the fuck it is that you got to the kids. Okay, so, and then it was this older lady, Miss Brummel, with the computers and shit like that. And we noticed that the coach is back, and he just keep drinking a whole bunch of water. And so everybody's doing their own thing. And then Usher's on the football team. He winds up taking the captain position because Stan leaves. And basically, Casey and Delilah works on the newspaper together, right? They're trying to find a story. And Casey is standing up to Delilah for the most part because she is a bitch. All right, so they go into the faculty lounge and they was up there trying to find some juice and trying to find some stuff to expose people. And right at that moment, they had to go hide into the closet because the coach and the drama teacher was coming up in there, right? Mind you, when this bitch came back into the scene, we seen her one way. She was all timid and, oh my God, Miss Drake, what we gonna do? To now she demanding shit like she had bitch on charge, had her hair done and everything. I said, look at you, bitch. Okay, what's going on? It was like I finally got some dick or something. That's how she came up in there. Like, I said, oh, so you in control now? Yeah. But earlier, we get Stan, he was on football practice. He coming out, or either PE or whatever, he going into the showers. He is bucket ass naked in the shower. And then all of a sudden, Miss Brummel, I think the little old bitch, she come up in there and she like, they're trying to get us. And she just... her skin. Oh my God. One thing I don't like, one movie genre of horror I don't like is body horror. I do not like body horror because, oh my God, I hate it so much. When I say it makes my skin crawl, it makes me squeamish and all of that shit. I just, oh my goodness. Because when her face started crinkling up and then you see the spots coming through and then all of a sudden, when we saw her feet and how they looked, I said, oh my God, first of all, I thought that was the alien, but it wasn't. It was Miss Brummel Olas. And then she had her hair, when Stan grabs her to like kind of hug her to calm her down, mind you, he got his dick all out. Casey saw this and he went to go get help from the teachers, and they come, and by the time they get there, her fucking half her scalp came out. Girl, that shit would have just destroyed me. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. That's why I'm putting off looking at the substance, because that's body horror too. Okay, and I just like The Fly. Oh my God, that's just so nasty. It's so nasty. And so, go back, and I'm bringing her up because when Casey and Delilah went back to the faculty room and then the faculty lounge, and then you got the coach and the drama teacher come up in there, and they in there talking about Miss Brummel, who's dead. They hiding up in the closet, bitch. They brought in the teacher, not the teacher, but the nurse. And they wind up basically, because they aliens now, they wind up changing her ass and killing her and then turning her into one of them. And they heard it and saw it and all that shit. And then they almost got away with it. But then, they up in there, oh my God, all that shit. And then the body fall on the floor that was in the closet. And it was the old bitch. And they was like, she was too old for it to take. Okay. And so, of course, they looking for them. I said, oh, y'all done got caught. Casey trying to escape and hitting him in the stomach with the mop and everything. And I was just like, child, you finna die. You about to die, okay? Meanwhile, Delilah don't give a fuck about nobody. Because when they was running, mind you, the coach in them was not running after them. But when they was running, he fell on the floor. I said, now what you fall on? Okay, he just fell on the floor and he was like, Delilah, wait. Girl, Delilah was out of that bitch. Delilah was gone. Okay. And I was just like, this don't make no sense. Delilah don't give a fuck about nobody. This is bullshit, bitch. Okay. And then, Casey wound up telling his parents. They wound up calling the cops and then going up in there to see if it really was a body up in the closet. And of course, the body is not going to be there. The teacher goes in there, or I should say Miss Drake go up in there and talk to the cop. Mind you, one of the cops is the black cop, Dwayne Martin. Lisa, not Lisa, but Tisha Campbell ex-husband. Will Smith friend. y'all play too much. Oh my God, y'all think let me shut up. And he wound up turning him too. Now, bitch, I was just like, this don't make no sense. it got to the point that, you know, the parents was looking at Casey like he was crazy, want to get him to talk to a psychiatrist, going home looking in his room and, you know, trying to make sure he ain't had no drugs or nothing like that. Mind you, Zeke is the one that was the drug dealer, right? So basically when they come back to school, Casey didn't want to go back to school because he already know that them teachers was going to be on him. He trying to sneak out the house and he seeing them outside and all that stuff, and then kind of found out they really wasn't, whatever. Okay, cool. And so at this point, he get back to the school, bitch. Everybody is just looking weird. The teachers, it's a whole bunch of water. They keep drinking water and water and water. But earlier, Casey also did find this organism that was on the floor over there where the coach was, okay? Took it to the science teacher. And when he took it to the science teacher, they was looking at it, and then that's when we found out that Zeke is smart as shit. And I mean, you gotta be if you decide to make your own drug product and you know the exact combinations that's not gonna kill somebody or whatever. So they looking at the slides and all that shit, trying to look at the organism and everything. And then, you know, Stokely and Stan get into it a little bit to the point where they actually knock over a glass of water and it falls on the organism and then it rehydrates it. And so it comes back to life, whatever, start moving. So the science teacher, he winds up putting it up in the goddamn fish tank, okay? And I said, oh, so we just gonna do this? Now here's my thing, and this where everything had me fucked up, and every black person in that room, and I'm Usher, I'm seeing all of this shit happen. I'm leaving because, excuse me, this thing started moving as soon as you put water on it. We didn't even know what the hell it is. And then it just started moving when you put water on it, and then you throw it up in the fish tank. And not only does it start moving, bitch, that bitch is swimming and it's red tentacle-like veins coming out of this hole. Okay? Just strings and shit. And I'm going to sit here and look at it. Okay, now let's say I was a little bit fascinated at that shit. That's, oh, what is this? But then it popped up and it duplicated itself. It replicated, bitch. It said Control Alt Delete, or it said Control Alt Paste, you know, copy and paste. That's what the fuck it did. And I said, wait a minute, what the hell? Girl, I would have left right then and there. I would have left. I said, y'all playing with some shit up in here that I don't know nothing about. I know this is science, but I don't want to be a part of it, okay? Then the teacher gonna put his hand in the goddamn thing trying to touch it and see what the texture is like, because it was a different texture from when it was dehydrated. I said, you don't know what the fuck this is and you gonna put your hand up in this bitch? That's why your motherfucking ass got bit. Got bit bad. I said, first of all, when he said where the teeth come from, exactly, get the fuck up out of here. Okay, we already knew right then and there, yeah, you're a goner. So then it comes to a point where they're basically infecting all of the faculty, and then they're lining up the students and infecting them too. So it gets to a point where the majority of the school and the teachers and the students are infected with this whole virus, and we've realized it's a parasite. The only ones that's not is Casey, Delilah. We see Delilah coming back. She got her little glasses on, looking different, and she was like, I'm in incognito. Okay, that's just really what it was. You got all of them talking about it. The new girl is up there talking with Zeke, and he kind of sweet on her and flirting with her. Next thing you know, they kiss and all that shit. And I said, now hold on, y'all moving kind of fast. But he overheard them talking in the vent. It's about the teachers and something going on, and there's some aliens and all this shit. So it's Stan, Stokely, Casey, and Delilah talking. And so then you get Zeke and Maybeth come up over there, right? And so they up there trying to figure out what's going on. They think it's some aliens or some shit like that. And of course, they not convinced. You know, like Zeke and Maybeth and even Stan and them, they not really convinced, okay? But then when the science teacher come in, and then all of a sudden that bitch turns and, you know, he realized what's going on and realized that they know that something ain't right and try to trap them up in there and try to choke little Casey out. And Zeke went around and took the goddamn paper shredder shit and fucking cut his goddamn fingers off, and them bitches started, bitch, what? And then he took his little drugs and put it in his eye, and he just died. Like, he just foamed up. I was like, oh, okay, what the fuck just happened right here, right now? And everybody was looking like, well, shit, bitch, well, invasion of the body snatcher ass. This is real. So they leave and they go to Zeke's home. And before that, bitch, Zeke got cussed out by Miss Burke. Now, Miss Burke came back like she truly was on something. Like when you say a makeover, it wasn't no mix. She had her titties out and everything. Hair down and all of that shit. Cussing him out and everything. I said, now hold on, Miss Burke. I understand that this boy was getting on your goddamn nerves, but at the same time, you doing a bit much, girlfriend. What's going on? What's going on is that alien shit and gave her a little bit confident boost, right? And so they up in Zeke's lab or whatever, getting all his drugs and realizing, he took a piece of that the organism, fed it to the damn rat. I said, not the little rat. We still doing fucking experiments on the animals. Yeah, little Oscar got the little shit. It went in his ear. It converted him. He broke his neck and he opened it up and basically realized that, the organism is feeding off of liquid and shit like that, basically water. And our body, it needs a host. It needs a lot of water. It needs to be hydrated. Our body is mostly water. That's why we saw the faculty and everybody just drinking all the goddamn water and everything. Okay, cool. So then he's put a little bit of that drug shit that he had on it, and basically it's a bunch of caffeine and some other shit together, and which is making it a diuretic. Because when you drink a lot of caffeine, bitch, you gotta go pee. Okay, shh. Trust and believe it. Do it to me. You gotta drink it at the right time. Okay. And so it dried it up, and so therefore it dies. That's how they gonna kill it. And basically they trying to find the host. Okay. Now at first they thought that the host was the coach. And they knew that they got to go to the football team because they had a football game coming up. And it was like, we got to go ahead and hurry up and get the host right about now. Because at this point, if we don't get it, the town will be turned in a few days, okay? Now, at first, they thought it was the football coach, but then they thought it was the teacher, the principal. Girl, when they went after the principal, but before that, the part that I actually did like for real, when they was over there at Zeke's house and they was trying to figure out if any one of them was aliens or whatever. And he was like, everybody take a sniff, okay? Bitch, everybody was taking a sniff and tweaking out. But then when it came to Delilah ass, it was Delilah and Maybeth back to back. Okay, they said, we gonna take this the same. Even though Delilah was, giving real like, I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to do this shit. But then they said, okay, we gonna do it together. You had to see the way Delilah looked at Maybeth like, you gonna do this, girl? I'm gonna do it. Yeah. It was like they was giving them signals, and I could have sworn it was just like Maybeth was telling her, don't take it, but go ahead and run up out of this hoe. Because she was alienated too. She got alienized and everything. They tried, bitch, Casey had the gun in his hand because Zeke had a gun up in there, and he was like, shoot her. He couldn't shoot her. Girl, Stokely took that gun and said, I'll shoot this bitch. Pop. But she missed. And she was running after her. Let off a couple more shots. Still missed. And I said, I know that's right, Stokely. Stokely said, bitch, this is my one and only chance. Because I can't stand this hoe. Okay? That's just really what it was. And she wound up getting away. But they get back to the school. And they find Miss Drake. And they thought that she was one. They tried to get her to sniff the shit she wouldn't, and Zeke wound up popping her in the head, and then she wound up getting up, and then he had a little bit of the stuff left in a little canister because Delilah fucked up his chemistry set. That's basically what it is. And he was like, God damn it. So he couldn't make no more that quick, right? And so he had enough in a little canister that he was going to put in a thing and then distribute the way that he need to. Maybeth was holding it. And when Miss Drake got her ass up after getting popped in the head, this bitch, instead of just going ahead and putting just one of the little vials on her, she poured all of the shit on her. And right then and there, if you did know what was going on, that's when you figure it out for real. Oh, this bitch got to be the host. She got to. Okay, or something is going on, because why would you fucking do that? You ain't that damn ditzy from Georgia. Okay, like, come the fuck on. So then they had a couple more vials left. And so Stan said, I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna talk to the coach and I'm gonna see. He go over there and thinking that the coach wasn't the host, and thinking that Drake was the host and that it was over with. But no, the coach is still out there in the rain, and the tentacles coming out of his face or whatever. Stan fuck around and get turned, and he convinced them to get in the last vial, and he threw it out. Okay, mind you, this is after Stokely and Stan had a little kissy moment. Okay, because it was little tensions going on between them, so they wind up linking up. Right? Okay, cool. So Stokely is pissed off, right? This is sad, bitch. You almost had my man. As soon as I like somebody, he's a fucking killer. Now he's a goddamn alien. Ain't that some shit? What the fuck does that say about me? Okay? Can't pick him for shit. And so at this point, now you got Zeke trying to run to his car. Him and the Casey, they going to the car trying to get the rest of his stash. And Casey is a little distraction, being a decoy. He wound up getting chased onto the bus, okay, because the football team was coming. The whole football team had turned. Baby, they was out there playing football on that damn field, and they was turning to other players too, okay? I said, damn, y'all can't be more obvious than what y'all doing. Usher putting that goddamn thing up in that motherfucking ear. I said, oh, that's nasty. And so he get confronted on the bus with Delilah, and Delilah is like, come with us, and you could do this, and you could be who you want to be, and all this stuff. This is what you want. And it's always that whole, I'm trying to make somebody feel like, well, I know that you feel like you're an outcast and nobody likes you and you ain't worth shit. And all of that, but if you come kick it and be over here with us, you will be this and be that, and you'll be wanted, and you'll know what it feels like. Girl, fuck all of that. Casey didn't fall for that bullshit. Okay. Zeke was able to get up into his car in his trunk. It wasn't shit up in there, but the drugs was in the front seat. But Miss Burke was over there. Okay. And then she didn't try to get him, bitch. He crashed the car. This hoe falls out the car, get burnt up, and the head get decapitated. When that bitch started walking past, it reminded me of, have you seen the movie Mars Attack? Y'all have got to watch that movie. That shit was funny as fuck. They had walked past, and Zeke was looking like, what the fuck? And I said, because then all of a sudden you see the body just standing there looking for the head and all this shit. It was giving that. And you remember like on Death Becomes Her when the head at the end was rolling, and they was like, so where the car at? That's how it was, but with tentacles. It looked like a little octopus coming past. Zeke was looking like, wait a minute, well, fuck this shit. Let me get the hell up out of here. I said, exactly. So he leaves. But while he's gone, Stan got turned. Stokely and Maybeth is up there talking. She talking about the invasion of the body snatchers and what happens with the whole thing. And it was like eventually, the people lose and they win. And she was like, yeah, you know what? I'm tired of being in this, being something that I'm not. This is when Maybeth reveals herself as being the goddamn host. After she slapped the dog shit out of Stokely. Stokely, you better than me, because I would have said, bitch, the fuck wrong with you? Okay, but Casey come back up in there like, ain't this some shit? So they getting chased by her and all that shit. Eventually, Stokely they went into the pool area. I said they're attracted to water. Why are we going to water? And of course, the thing is in the water just living. She wound up grabbing Stokely. She falls on the floor, busts her goddamn jaw out. She bleeding, pull up in the water. And I said, I knew right then and there Stokely about to get turned. And sure enough, she did. Z come back in there and they in the locker room. And Maybeth trying to convince Zeke that Stokely was the one that was the host. Zeke said, well, riddle me this. Why the fuck you standing here bucket ass naked? She said, does my body and my nakedness offend you? What the fuck, bitch? And then she turned herself and said, hell yeah, I'm the host. But then that's when we also realized that Stokely got infected too. So Casey locked her up in the little cage with the equipment or whatever. And so they go running and all that shit. Zeke got knocked the fuck out some way, somehow. And Casey just taking this bitch on a goddamn run around the gym. and she giving that whole little speech about you can be this, and where her country and her planet, it was the most beautiful planet, and it was full of water and all this stuff, and then the shit dried the fuck up. Okay, and so I come down here to this place and I see what's going on, and it's like, oh well, if you come be with us, you won't have to worry about this, you won't have to worry about that. Girl, trying to make it like it's such a good place and a good thing to be on their side, and it's not convincing. Don't do that shit. And Casey wound up punching the button for the bleachers to retract, and the thing got stuck in there, right? And he wound up using the rest of the stuff that Zeke gave him and putting it in the girl eye, and she dies. This is right after that bitch sprayed some shit up in his face, and he was about to turn, and then them motherfuckers just popped on out his face. I said, that's nasty. That's nasty. Damn it. But then after she died, okay, everybody goes back to normal. Who's still alive, all right? The coach go back to being the coach, his old aggressive ass, okay? And then we find out that Zeke, who is a 2-time senior, is now a part of the football team. And this is the scene that actually really, truly disturbed me. Granted, he around 18, 19 years old. He's technically an adult. But just because you were 2-time senior, you still in fucking high school. Why him? It seemed like him and Miss Burke, because Miss Burke sitting up in the bleachers just, waving at him like that. And then, he like, I said, so y'all fucking around? What the hell is that? That shit was disgusting to me. I don't give a fuck how you try to splice it, look at it or whatever. I wasn't here for that shit. That was nasty. Predator put her on the list, put him on the list, put somebody on the list, bitch, because that just wasn't right. And then, of course, Stan and Stokely, they together. He's no longer on the football team, and he's okay with that. And you notice that Stokely is not wearing all black. She's wearing lilac, purple, and everything, light colors and all that shit or whatever. She don't even have all the black eyeliner and the makeup on. She still got a couple of her little chain stuff, but not as much. And I'm like, oh, so you basically saying this bitch needed a man just to get happy and to change her appearance? She had changed her appearance because of a man or some shit? What type of fucking message are y'all trying to put out there? Okay, you need a nigga to help you feel happy or some shit? Like, get the fuck. Okay, but then the other part that really pissed me off, because they was trying to figure out, Casey again was getting a lot of press and getting on these magazines or whatever, because they was trying to figure out whether or not the alien invasion was a hoax or was it real and all this shit, because some of the teachers did disappear because they did. Okay, but he was getting a lot of recognition from this, and this reminded me of Elijah Wood's character when they was on Deep Impact. Okay, y'all remember that movie where he was one of the ones that discovered the comet that was coming to Earth, and they named the comet after him, and he was getting a lot of press off of that. And so you get that going on, but then Delilah and him are together. What? So now all of a sudden them two together and she a good person. Get the freak out of here. I wouldn't trust that bitch as much as I could throw her. And I probably can throw her pretty far. Girl, get the hell up out of here. I ain't like that ending like that. It is what it is though. Everybody went back to normal. Yeah, the movie was cute. It was cute. It's a nice little watch. I actually did enjoy it. If I had to rate it, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I really would. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. But yeah, you guys tell me how you felt about it. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.